Hi there, Sean van Wyk here from Livewell Villages. I hope you're keeping safe during this time and that you're washing your hands. Today I'd like to talk to you about home-based care versus placing your loved one living with dementia in a facility. So we've all been made very aware of the impact that the virus has had on the elderly population. Underlying conditions makes them even more at risk to contract the virus, and they're not able to actively fight the virus effectively as we would be able to. So for those of us caring for a loved one living with dementia at home, it becomes an increased concern. Although we try everything that we can within our power to reduce the risk of them contracting the virus, there are just certain things that are beyond our control. Caring for an elderly loved one during this pandemic is of utmost importance. The restrictions are being lifted as the phases go by and we return back to work. So you may return back to work and could be exposed to someone that has been exposed to the virus or has contracted the virus, and return back home. The risk of your elderly loved one also being infected with the virus is quite high. This brings me to a point where people living with dementia do not remember to take the necessary safety precautions. They don't remember how to keep themselves safe. So the risk becomes even higher if they live alone during this pandemic. Caring for a loved one living with dementia at home is probably the noblest of journeys to follow, and often the only alternative. But if you are able, and it is within your means, to place your loved one in a facility like Livewell, you will experience peace of mind. But most importantly, you will be able to return to the family dynamic of being the daughter, the son, the husband, the wife, and not just the caretaker, because Livewell will take that responsibility from you. So to give you an indication why I'm saying that Livewell gives you peace of mind, when the virus hit us in March in South Africa, Livewell decided to already do a lockdown about 2 weeks before the government stated that they were going to issue a lockdown during this pandemic. And since then, we have been working tirelessly to ensure that all of our protocols and procedures are in place in terms of disaster management. We have implemented strict access control processes. We built our staff accommodation on our premises to ensure that none of our staff gets exposed to the public, and that they are on our premises to ensure that nobody is at the risk of becoming infected with the virus. And that includes our staff and it includes our residents, who are the most important parts of our facility. Our staff are screened on a daily basis, and we have also tested all of our staff and all of our residents since the pandemic hit, and we will continue to do testing as the need arises. We've also been very fortunate to partner with Ampath, who's been doing all of our testing, and they are readily and immediately available if we need to do any more testing during the course of this pandemic. Of course, we had to go back to the drawing board in terms of our activities for our residents, and we had to think out of the box, because usually our residents go on outings, they go to golf days, they go out to have tea, and now we were no longer able to do that on account of the social distancing rule. So we had to go and think about how we're going to still therapeutically entertain our residents within the four walls of our facility. And I'm very proud to say that our occupational therapists, along with all of our staff, have been amazing in creating all of the different activities that keep our residents busy, keep them happy, and keep them just safe as far as the virus is concerned. We also had to think out of the box when we thought about how we're going to get our residents to communicate with their loved ones. And luckily we have technology at our fingertips. So we use Zoom, we use WhatsApp video call, we use Skype to get our residents to be in contact with their loved ones on a regular basis, which is really assisting them to feel more safe during this time and to know that their families are out there even though they're not able to see them physically. We are also admitting residents currently during the lockdown. This is for assistance to families that are not able to look after their loved ones that live with dementia and have no other way out. They are more than welcome to contact us, and we can take the process further. I'd also like to take this opportunity to just express gratitude to our staff who have been amazing in terms of looking after our residents and in terms of taking everything into their stride and just living the passion that is Livewell and the Livewell way. So at Livewell, we have the expertise to look after your loved one living with dementia. We look after their physical health, we look after their mental health, and we take a lot of pride in looking after their psychosocial health. We want to keep them as safe as possible, and we want them to feel safe. It's one thing to keep them safe, but for them to feel safe is the most important thing. I think I mentioned in my previous video that for someone living with dementia, the biggest part of their lives is to feel safe, and that is the one major thing that we need to provide for them. Everything else will fall into place. And when they live at Livewell, they become a part of our family, and we love them like they're one of our own. So in the spirit of our staff and their dedication to our residents, I found a poem written by someone called Lee McCurley, and I felt that it was apt to read it in this video. The poem is titled Caregiver. I am the caregiver, the watcher, the guide. I walk down the hall with you by my side. A smile, a laugh, a hug or embrace. I watch the worry fall away from your face. I am the caregiver, the watcher, the guide. I walk down the hall with you by my side. I am your compass, your shining North Star. I try to remind you of just who you are. I am the caregiver, the watcher, the guide. I walk down the hall with you by my side. Pictures and letters, music of old, keep your mind warm and away from the cold. I am the caregiver, the watcher, the guide. I walk down the hall with you by my side. The routine of night shows no wear and tear. The light of the morning so soon will be there. Such a beautiful poem, and it embodies the passion of our carers.